Hey guys, it's Anthony, the MMA and political analyst, and we're going to talk more about this whole Bundy Ranch thing, which seemingly just won't go away. Like, again, this guy got away with something that pretty much no one else would have been able to get away with, and these people just won't go away. I mean, like, I don't think they really understand. They're at this point, they're just asking for it. They're asking for the government to intervene. They're literally like taunting the government at this point. Like, you ask me what do I mean by that? Well, apparently, a lot of these militias that came to Cliven Bundy's aid have not yet left the area. They're still there with all their guns, and now they're actually operating in the area as if they're like a military or a police force, just out and about with their weapons, just conducting operations like I would if I'm in the army, like I would in some foreign country. I mean, they've actually gotten to the point where reportedly these militias are actually setting up checkpoints and like shaking people down as they drive through certain streets and asking them, "Hey, do you live here? Let me see your ID. You need to prove that you live here." Checking to see if anybody's members of media or possibly from the federal government. What? What are we in Afghanistan? Like we're like random militias are just like controlling the streets and shaking people down. I thought this was America. These guys are hilarious. These guys are. I mean, like, if you're one of these militia members, do you not see the irony of what you're doing? Like, what happened to? Oh, we're just standing up for the Constitution. Oh, the Constitution is what you're concerned with. So you prove it by like, I don't know, performing illegal searches and seizures on random people who are driving by. Now, look, don't think this is just some random rumor. Okay, this is not like something that I'm just making up. Uh, Representative Stephen Hofsford of Democrat, I mean, he's Democrat, so take that for what it's worth, of Nevada, who like represents the area, he had to send a letter to the Clark County Sheriff and ask him to investigate because a lot of his constituents were contacting him and telling him, "Hey, look, dude, every time I drive through this area, I'm getting shaken down by some weird armed militia dudes." Like, again, like, I thought this was America. I thought you were supposed to be a member of some militia group fighting for everybody's freedom. This doesn't sound like something that would happen in a so-called free country where you're getting shaken down when you're driving through places. And this is what I mean, man. Look, these people, they don't know what they're talking about when they talk about freedom and the Constitution and they're trying to fight off some threat from the federal government. These guys are just lost, man. These guys are idiots because they don't even see the ridiculous irony of what they're doing, right? Oh, we support the Constitution, and so we're going to overthrow the government to prove it. Yeah, because in the Constitution, it talks about how it's okay to overthrow the government. You know, I'm pretty sure the Constitution lays out a specific way that you address grievances with the government. It's laid out in there. So those are the avenues you're supposed to take according to the Constitution. The document that you claim to be holier than thou, like the most important thing ever, the Constitution. So instead of you following it and leading by example and trying to do the things the way they're supposed to get done, you just pull out your guns and start shaking people down and violating the very document that you claim to uphold. But they don't even see that, do they? They have no idea. They're just flies right over their head as they continue to shake people down in illegal checkpoints. That's hilarious. I can't get over that. Like, it's like we've literally, like, that area of the country has literally become Afghanistan. Like, that's how it is there in Afghanistan, where no matter where you go, somebody's militia is doing something, and there's all these different factions and tribal leaders, and you don't know who's who and who's working for the Taliban, who's working for you. Everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. Like, that's apparently how you want America to be, where it's just like a feudal system, where every little town you go to has like a different little militia, and they have their own little separate kind of economy that they just operate off of, and everybody's kind of just doing their own thing. Like, that's how you want America to be? Interesting. But that's not all. We're going to keep going here. Mike Vanderbaugh, I think his name is, one of these militia leaders, is up there threatening Harry Reid. And he's talking about how we're staring civil war in the face, and that either they will win, I'm assuming he means the federal government, or we will win. I'd like to see that happen. And he threatened Harry Reid with a human skull and said something to the effect of, he's going to get his balls ripped off or something like that. Also, now you're threatening U.S. senators. Again, a person who claims to be a patriot fighting on behalf of the American people is threatening a sitting elected United States senator. And it's like Harry Reid has been the center of attention, the center of focus for a lot of these militia types recently because, well, I don't know why, okay, because it really doesn't make any sense. But there's this whole conspiracy theory about how Harry Reid's son has some interest in that land because the Chinese are going to build a solar plant there, which was debunked thoroughly. But maybe that's why they seem to want to focus all their attention on Harry Reid. And it's ridiculous. It's like these people who claim that Harry Reid is so like powerful and nefarious and everything. You guys are so stupid. He's a senator. Like, what his power has in the end? Like, yes, of course, he's the majority leader, so he has some, different kind of powers within that context of the Senate. But as far as everyone's concerned, when it comes down to it, all he can do is vote yes or no. That's pretty much it. He's a senator. That's what all the senators do. A bill come across their desk for a vote, yes, no. And that's pretty much all he can do. Right now, again, I'm being facetious. Yeah, I understand he's the majority leader of the Senate, and so he has some different types of powers in that context. He can, decide what bills get looked at and whatnot. Many things like that. But for the most part, in a nutshell, he can just vote yes or no. So it's like you guys are overstating his importance. You guys are overstating his power. It's like, if you're so scared of him, the only reason you're so scared of him because you've made him into like this mythical character. If you hate Harry Reid that much, then just let him be. Let him be himself. He can't hurt you. He can't do anything to you. He has no real actual power other than yes, no. That's all he's got. But you guys have blown him up into some like mythical, like evil character, like sitting back, pulling the strings and making all these ridiculous things happen, which couldn't be further from the truth. And it's sad. It's like you guys are just so lost. And in fact, they're so lost that they call themselves the 3%ers. 3%ers. And they use that term 3% because they think that back during the Revolutionary War, only 3% of the population actually supported overthrowing the British monarchy and creating our own country. I find that to be quite dubious, but I'm not even going to go down that road right now. 3% is ridiculous. But okay, let's just give them that for a few minutes. 3%. Only so, and now today they are claiming they are the new 3% of the population that's going to fight back and overthrow the government. How ridiculous is that? Think about it. If you lived in a country that was relatively stable and everything was happy, and only 3% of the people really just could not stand what was going on to the point where now they're going to overthrow the government, wouldn't you be a little pissed off? Like, these 3% of the freaking country are going to cause a civil war because they don't like things? Only 3%. It'd be one thing if it was 50%, 80%, something like that, where there's a huge, massive uprising and people are so pissed off and upset. That's okay, I got it, that's one thing. But 3%? So the losers who just don't like what's going on and they're going to take their ball and go home and try to start a war and kill people because they don't like what's going on, when it's only 3% of them, while everybody else is just minding their own business, trying to make a living, while these 3% of people are trying to start a war over it? How sad are you? And you admit it. You admit it. You're like, yeah, I'm pretty much a loser. I'm pretty much a loser who's part of 3% of the population who wants to start a war. Well, dude. Well, you're calling yourself a loser. You're admitting it. At least other insurgent groups claim they have popular support. There's insurgent groups all over the world fighting against their home countries, and at least they pretend in some cases to have popular support. You guys don't even bother doing that. You guys are just like, yeah, nobody really supports us. We suck. We're losers, and we're just mad that the president's like, excuse me. We're just mad that things aren't going the way we want. So let's overthrow the government. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. So I don't know what we're gonna do about these guys eventually, but I think honestly, at this point, the government obviously needs to keep an eye on these guys. But We shouldn't even bother moving against them at this point. Let these idiots run around here and think that they're gonna take to the hills and start a revolution, and then they're gonna notice real quick that wait a minute now, I'm out here in the hills by myself and we're not really accomplishing anything. Yeah, we suck. I'm going home. And I think that eventually that's where that group will go. Now, if it does somehow come down to some type of conflict or whatever, I mean, what really, dude? You guys are gonna like fight against the government and overthrow them or something like that? You should have seen this Mike Vanderbilt guy. If you know, you can look him up on the internet if you want to, and you see this guy's like 140 years old. He's like giving this speech slumped over the podium like he could barely stand. What are you gonna do, dude? What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna attack? How long are you? How long are you gonna last in a firefight, guy? Really? Like you're gonna take on? And plus, I say firefight as if they're even gonna bother with that. What are you gonna do against a helicopter or unmanned aerial vehicle or a tank or any kind of armored vehicle? What are we gonna run away from that? You can't even run off that damn stage. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get annihilated. Like, I mean, you know, I hope that if, you know, for your sake, that if there is some type of revolution, I really hope you're not the one leading it, because you're going to be the first one to die, guy. You know, in order to be like in some type of like military or police, law enforcement profession, you kind of have to be in shape and be able to physically handle the demands of, you know, of combat and whatnot. And not only this Mike Vanderbilt dude, but most of these so-called militia types running around, I've seen you guys. You know, a lot of you guys are like, many of you guys are like fat, lazy. You don't have any combat skills. You know, and let alone you don't have anything even remotely in the way of, I don't know, equipment like to actually fight a war with. I just don't get it. Like, is there some kind of like romanticism? Like you guys watch too many movies about people fighting for a lost cause and you just want to be a part of that? I don't know what it is, man. You guys are crazy. And it's sad because you guys are going to mess around one day and you're going to catch the government like on a bad day or something like that. And you guys are going to be done, man. You guys are going to be done. And you won't be the only ones. Take it from me. Like, again, my parents came up during the Civil Rights era. Do you remember the Black Panthers? Now, I know people seem to think the Black Panthers have like made a comeback recently. They haven't. Okay? But, you know, in the 60s and 70s when the Black Panthers were around, and, you know, they claimed they were going to, you know, defend themselves by any means necessary, and they had all their guns or whatever. What happened to all of them? They're all dead or in jail. All of them. All of the Black Panther leadership from back in the day, gone. Right? What makes you think you're any different? You know, like, come on, dude. You guys are done, son. You guys are gone. You guys are going to be in jail. And you're lucky that you're, like, living in Nevada somewhere. Or I'll be honest with you, that you're not Muslim. Because if you were, man, they would have hauled you guys off to Guantanamo a long time ago. You'd have been gone. You think you can have some Muslim people running around this country right now with guns, taking over towns and setting up checkpoints? You know what would happen? I mean, they would immediately enact the War Powers Act. They wouldn't even bother with like any National Guard or federal law enforcement. They would have sent the military right up in there, blew you guys away, and then took the rest of you and shipped you off to Guantanamo without even thinking twice about it. Right? So you guys are lucky. You're lucky you're not Muslim. Anyway, I'm done ranting about that situation. I'm going to try to stop talking about these guys, stop talking about the Bundy Ranch. I'm going to try. I can't make any guarantees, but this thing just won't go away. I can't figure it out, man. What is you guys' problem? Now, I know you're going to write on my page about the tyranny of the government. Okay, whatever. I'll respond, you know, if I got the time. But you're not going to change my mind, okay? Where you live in the United States is not that bad, and you're going to be all right. So, until then, this is Anthony, the MMA and political analyst. I'll talk to you.